Good morning, everybody. I thought I'd bring you along and let you see a little bit of how we deal with the potty issues on an off-grid homestead. And this is pretty common throughout the country. And basically, it's a wooden box. And as you can see, we have a styrofoam seat, which is temporary. Oh, my hand keeps shaking. Hold on here. Got to switch out here. There we go. And under there is a urine catch. It's a separating system. So you have a urine diverter and a bucket. And in the bottom of the bucket, hopefully Jim changed the bucket because it needed to be changed this morning, is in the actual first layer of the bucket before you go to the bathroom is either pine straw, leaves, pine shavings, sawdust, whatever you have access to. And unfortunately, we have not found an access to sawdust yet, so we're using the shavings that you see here from Tractor Supply. But there are a ton of sawmills around us because we are in a timber country where they timber pine for particle board and things like that. And as you can see, there's a urine jug that I have to take out and dump, and I dump that in a compost pile. And in this bucket is, sorry for the lighting, I have no good lighting in this cabin. We have ash from our wood stove, so we do help keep odors down with this ash, and it works great for the actual number 2 area, which is the bucket. Not so good on urine when you're doing a urine separation system like we are. You do smell urine. So is it a system I recommend? No, I don't. But because we generate so much, we're in Florida, so we drink a lot, we generate a lot of urine, and this system works for us. Do you still smell a little bit of urine? Yes, you can at times, yes. And then, basically, number 2 in the bucket, a scoop of ash, and a scoop of the pine shavings, and you never smell that bucket. Not ever, guys. Not even in the hottest, most sweltering temperatures, you do not smell that bucket. And that is a huge yay. It prevents us from having to put plumbing and holes in the floor of the cabin. It prevents us from having to maintain a septic system. And it is totally legal in Florida. Yes, I'm in Florida, guys. This is a legal system. Compost toilets are encouraged because of all the flooding that we experienced during hurricanes and stuff. They encourage every household to have a compost toilet ready and available. Why? Because hurricane season, a lot of the sewer systems flood. And that is one of the nastiest things you'll ever deal with if you lived in areas like the Tampa Bay area. Now, we are very far from it, thank goodness, because it's a big city. And we are in a very rural location, which is another big plus for us. And being rural in Florida means you can be off-grid. There is no law saying you have to be grid-tied if you're on a piece of property like we are. And our property was never on the grid. And as long as we own it, we don't intend for it to be on the grid. Alright, I'm going to take you out and show you what we do when we go to empty a bucket. Okay, guys, one of the buckets that we use are these old Tidy Cat buckets. We've done this for years here now. We only live here 1 year full-time now. Can you imagine a whole year off-grid? And we are doing fantastic. And we use these buckets for the number 2 in our compost toilet system. And it's so simple. We set these out in the sun after we empty them. We rinse them out. And we set them out in the sun. And the sun actually kills any bacteria that would be in this bucket. And then we keep trying stage 1 here close to the door just in case we need it and it's raining. It saves us from having to go all the way to the back to the compost area to get a fresh bucket. And it's so simple, guys. It's this simple, okay? This is hay that we put down because of rainy season. And it's just as simple. put a handful of hay in, you're ready to go. That could be pine straw, that can be leaves, it can be pine needles. There's so much stuff you can do here. Sawdust is another good one. Wood chips would work as well. But wood chips take longer to break down, which means you'd have to leave them compost for probably up to 3 years. Alright, we're going to take you back to our compost system. Alright, we are behind the house, and we just built this compost system because we were trying to contain everything in the 55-gallon drums. And it is contained. As you can see, there's 3 drums. 1, 2, 3 drums here. There you can get a better idea. These drums are full, and they have not broken down enough for us to distribute them to our fruit trees yet. So our next go-to is a pallet frame. We had these pallets sitting around. As you know, we collect pallets. And then in the very center is where we're dumping our current buckets, okay? So right now there's only 2 buckets that have been dumped in here. And what we do, we pull the hay back, dump, and then cover. Guys, I am standing, oh good Lord, 3 feet from it, okay? Not far. There is absolutely no odor. That is a huge win. Now, this is a big, as you can see, it's a really big compost area. Normally you want to do this in a 4-foot by 4-foot area. But we did this in a bigger area because we don't plan on touching this for years. So we're going to continue what we're doing. And what we want to try and do is take our oldest barrel, which we believe is one of these 2. And we're going to start actually shoveling that into this system, because that's already starting to break down. But we want to get these barrels emptied. So we're going to start doing it this way. And we feel it's going to actually compost faster if it's in here than if it's in those barrels. Now those barrels do heat up in the afternoon. The sun hits those 2. And it does heat those barrels, which helps. A hot compost will break down faster than a cold compost. So that is a hot composting system. And there is, for every number 2 you do 2 good handfuls of pine shavings to cover. Plus we add the ash. So when this is composted, this is going to be a very fertile soil. So you have your nitrogen and your carbon mix. And it's a very active compost. So that's pretty much it. It's that easy. We do not have any finished human manure compost yet. So the goats just distracted me. Squirrel! But I wanted to show you what we're currently doing, and this is working wonderful. We're not that far from the house. Let me give you a slow pan here. There's our 2 temporary sheds. That's going to be the outhouse again when we get it emptied into the new shed. And then there's the house. So we're not that far. I have chickens here. I have my goats right here. So we're really centrally located. We don't have to go far with the buckets. You can see where we live. We got no neighbors that are on top of us, thank God. We love the solitude here. But with the solitude can come what I call cabin bound, where we get to the point we don't want to go out to in public. We don't want to interact. We don't want to deal with the crap that goes on out in public. So that's something you have to be careful of as well. But that's our quick compost toilet. And you see, this doesn't take much, and it takes us roughly, I think, about a week to fill a bucket with 2 of us using the bucket. And keep in mind, the urine is not going in ours, so ours is more of a dry system. So that keeps the 2 separate, but I can come out and dump urine in here, which would even activate this faster. But right now, I'm actually putting my urine in a compost pile with the hay from the goat pens and the chicken pen. Again, to get that composting. We also are starting compost tea with some of the urine. So some of that is going into a bucket that we add comfrey, ferns, whatever green's handy. I just grab a handful of greens, throw it in, and let it stew for days. Then I dilute it and water the garden. So there's a few things you can do here. Uh-oh, got a baby goat loose. Espresso, how'd you get out? Nope, that's Simba. Simba, come on. All right, guys, gotta go. Gotta save a goat. She's spoiled.